Welcome everybody. We're live here at Adobe Max. My name is Terry White, Worldwide Design and Photography Evangelist for Adobe, and it's my pleasure to be joined by Brooke.
Hey guys.
Brooke is the Adobe Photoshop Sketch and Adobe Draw designer.
Yeah.
And if you were watching the keynote yesterday, she was the one doing all that cool stuff on stage like a Photoshop brush designer ninja. So it was awesome watching her do her thing. So we got a special treat because we now get to have her one-on-one with all of you here. You can ask questions in the chat. She's going to show us more cool stuff, including some sneak stuff that's not quite done or ready yet. And if the demo gods are willing, it'll all work perfectly.
Yeah.
And we can't wait, or I can't wait to see what she's going to show. And welcome everybody.
Cool.
Hi guys, we don't have sound. Okay. Is that something that we have sound or we don't have sound? We have sound. Okay, we have sound. All right, so I'll be looking at your chat or looking at your questions in the chat. And of course, if you've got questions, feel free to ask. And nope, no sound, no sound. Good voice, no sound. There's sound. Okay, so they're telling me there's sound.
Needs to turn up their speakers.
So might want to check your speakers or refresh or do whatever it takes. Okay. Someone said they got sound, so we're going to go with that. All right, so Brooke, what are you going to do?
I'm going to give you guys a sneak preview of some of the stuff that we showed yesterday on the stage at Max. It's pretty awesome. So one of the things that we showed yesterday was this ability to send documents back and forth between all of the different apps, which is really awesome. That means you don't have to worry about whether you have a Photoshop file or an Illustrator file. You just send them back and forth between all the apps and it just works. It's pretty awesome. So to give you a little sneak preview, so I'm in Sketch right now, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you, I've got these files here. This is actually a drawing that I started yesterday in Adobe Draw. And you can see it's in Adobe Draw is a vector drawing tool that kind of mimics Illustrator.
Wait a minute, Adobe Draw. So what's the difference between that and Illustrator?
All right, so Illustrator has all of the Bezier curves, you have the pen tool. Draw is actually just free-form drawing, which is pretty awesome.
You said a word that I think a lot of people like to hear, free.
It is free. It is absolutely free. You can go to the App Store on iOS. We've even got it available for Android. So Sketch and Draw and all of our mobile apps are now available on iOS and Android, which is pretty awesome.
That is pretty
all
awesome.
For free.
For free.
Which is rad. You don't have to pay for it.
You guys can be using this stuff for free and following right along. Go ahead.
Yeah, you guys are missing out. So download it now.
Right now. Well, don't leave the stream, but download it off to the side.
Download it after.
Yes.
All right, so you can see that I've got this. It's really nice that it's all vector. It's some free-form, just kind of doodling stuff that I was doing yesterday. Now I can open this up directly within Sketch. And Sketch is actually a natural media painting and drawing tool. So we've got some of the best watercolor brushes, we've got pencil, we've got acrylic, we've got oil. It's amazing. I absolutely love it.
And Photoshop Sketch, another free app, now available as of yesterday on both iOS and Android.
Yeah, I see someone say coming to support Kyle. We do have Kyle Webster actually joining us soon.
Yes, he is coming. He's like walking from another room to get over here, so he'll be here soon.
I know. Run, Kyle, run.
Run, Kyle, run.
They're asking for you.
That's a new hashtag. Let's trend. Run, Kyle, run.
Run, Kyle, run. Love it, Terry. Awesome. Whoops. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start adding some color in this. And one other super exciting thing that we announced yesterday was that we have Kyle's Photoshop brushes on Sketch. Now, this is pretty awesome because Kyle is the best known. He'll be here in 5 minutes. Yep. Anyway, we're going to hype him up.
Run, Kyle, run.
He is the best known Photoshop brush maker. And now we have a select pack of Kyle's Photoshop brushes directly within Sketch, which is pretty awesome. So let me show you guys how you access them. I think we do have a link. We have a Go link that maybe we can post in the chat that has all of Kyle's Photoshop brushes, how you get to them.
I don't remember by heart, but Michael can probably post that.
XYZ1A dot something.
Bit.ly.com.
Cool, so we're going to post the link for how you can get Kyle's Photoshop brush library for free. But I'm going to give you guys a sneak preview of using those, and you can use those directly within Sketch right now. So how you do that is once you follow Kyle's library, it's automatically going to be added. And what you can do is when you long press on this brush panel here, you'll see that you have a bunch of really great app brushes. They're really awesome. We've got some smudging, we've got acrylics, we've got a really cool watercolor brush. But you can actually go and you can load Kyle's brushes in here as well.
Yeah, and someone's asking, well, will Kyle's brushes be available free? And yes, we have a subset of his brushes that we are, as soon as they get the link posted in the chat, we are giving away.
We're going to post the link. You guys, the keyword today is free.
Free. Unless you want to be a Creative
No
Cloud
gimmicks.
then it's not free.
Cool, so I've got some really awesome Kyle brushes here. And honestly, like we've got a really great watercolor brush already in the app. But Kyle's watercolor brush is pretty cool too. It's called the Wet Edge brush. And I'm just gonna really quickly show you what you can do. Let's see, let me reduce the size of this a little bit. And for those of you who've never used Sketch, how you reduce the size, you can tap into the brushes just by clicking on it. And I just long press here and you can see I can make the size bigger or smaller. Now I'm gonna zoom in.
So,
and I'm going to start coloring some of this.
You can keep coloring.
Okay.
But one question is, are the brushes vector? And I'm assuming not for Photoshop.
They're not, because they're Photoshop brushes.
They're Photoshop brushes, so they're not vector. And the other question I see is that, will they also be free for Photoshop? And that's the key point that she's showing right now is that with this latest update to Photoshop Sketch, you can actually use Photoshop brushes in Sketch now for the first time. So
that's
yes,
a super awesome part of it.
For Photoshop as well.
Yep. And I do say this very kindly. I love Photoshop, but I'm going to tell you, some of the Photoshop brushes work better in Sketch than they do in Photoshop.
She said that.
Don't tell anyone.
She said that. I didn't say that.
All right. So you can see I'm using his Photoshop brushes, just kind of roughly, like painting this in, just because I don't want it to be, I want a little bit of the contrast with, the really nice vector. But let me just show you a few other brushes. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just open a new project. We have a brand new organizer in all of our apps, so I can add multiple document sizes to a project. So we've got some really great digital illustration sizes. If you're doing some like standard screen or widescreen, we've got all the iPad sizes. And we've got a ton of really awesome print sizes. So all of your most popular print sizes, 300 DPI, 150 DPI.
And the key thing to remember on this screen, as I was looking for a size, and I didn't see it right away because you have to scroll. There's more.
You can scroll,
right.
But wait, there's more. Bad joke. Yeah, so you can see that if I want, I can do, a letter size document. And right here it says, letter 8.5 by 11, 300 PPI. Oh, the man is here.
Hey, I'm so sorry.
Run, Kyle, run. Worked. It actually got him here. He's here. We're online. So they're going to get Kyle set up. He's in the house.
Let me show you document sizes. So, yep. So what I'm going to choose here is I'm going to choose just a large postcard size, which is 7 by 5, 300 DPI. Oops. Not sure what happened there.
Can you make your own custom sizes?
Not yet. That is coming.
Okay.
That is coming very, very soon.
Good question.
Yep.
LUI 355.
All right. So let me open this up here. What was I showing? Oh yeah, I was going to show the Kyle's rake brush, which I am a huge fan of. It's so cool. It's actually one of the brushes that we showed yesterday in the keynote when we were making our poster for the band. Yeah, it was the blue one from the band. So
I like that one.
It's really cool. Yeah, I really like it. So you can see that it's got some nice texture here.
Very cool.
And what I actually really love to do is I'm going to switch it out with this yellow one here. We have these different shapes, and what I like to do is it's pretty awesome just to. We've got this cool thing, and so then I can start making new textures.
So Richard's asking what kind of stylus are you using? I'll answer that one so you can keep going. But it's an
Sure.
Apple Pencil. She's on an iPad Pro 9.7 inch.
The small ones, and I like some people like the small ones. Some people like the bigger ones.
That's why they make two sizes.
I'm a small person, so I carry the small one around. But I want to show you something really cool. We've also added blend modes to Sketch. So in Photoshop, sometimes you have to go through all of the different blend modes. I think there's a quick key. It's like Shift Plus or something like that. Well, now you can visualize them. You can see what it's going to do before you actually decide you want to commit it, which I think is pretty awesome. Just makes it easier. I think that's the thing is we're focused on with our mobile apps is like, let's just make things easier. So, all right. Trying to think what else would be good. So we've got tons of layers. I can add
So the pen
sketch layers
she's using, once again, is the Apple Pencil by Apple for the iPad Pro.
Yep, cool. I'm gonna add another sketch layer. Let's check out some more of these awesome brushes that Kyle's made specifically for you guys.
Oh, you're so nice.
I know.
So here's a good question. How do I open the brushes from Creative Cloud on Photoshop in the desktop? Like,
Okay.
in other words, how are these brushes getting added to either app?
So Kyle's brushes are special, so we've done this specially from him, but there is a way that you can add Photoshop brushes to your libraries and then use them in Sketch. So all of your Creative Cloud libraries are available directly within Sketch if you have brushes. So if I want to change out a library, what I do, let's go through this slowly. So I can change over from my app brushes. I'm on Kyle's brushes library, and then you can see that I've got all my Creative Cloud libraries here.
Yep.
And what's really cool is you can see I've got 3 brushes here, I've got 7 brushes here. Some of my libraries don't have any brushes, and so I know that, I can see what's in there. So I'm going to actually pull this one open. And this is one of my favorite brush libraries. These are just brushes that we created in Capture. And I don't know if any of these people on here use Capture, but Capture's a pretty awesome
A lot of people
app.
use Capture.
Do
Every
they?
time I show it, they just go
Awesome.
crazy. Everybody's using it.
It's one of the most fun ways to create brushes. And I
And
just
that
want to...
question did come up. So people were asking, number one, can you create brushes in Sketch? And if not, how? And that is one of the ways you can do it. So there's another free app called Adobe Capture CC. And Capture CC lets you make custom brushes for Photoshop Sketch, for Illustrator, for Draw, just about everything.
Yeah.
So
Pretty awesome. So I'm going to show you guys one of my favorite brushes that was created in Capture. It's this crazy kind of like octopus style brush. Let me get a nice blue going here. And look at that guy just grow. Isn't that so crazy?
That's fun.
So this is something that we made an illustration of in Adobe Draw, which is the other app that I designed. And then we pulled it into Capture and created a brush
So
directly
that would be
from
like
that.
really hard to do, right?
It's, well, if you know how to draw, if you know how to draw a good tentacle, it's really easy to do.
That is wild.
Isn't it insane?
That is
It's just
fun.
so creepy. I love watching it grow.
That is so fun.
Weird, right?
That is someone who likes to draw monsters. Is gonna
So
love
Anna's
that.
asking,
I know,
can you use
right?
the Apple Pencil for a regular iPad? And unfortunately, no. The Apple Pencil and the iPad Pro both have technology in them to work together. So an Apple Pencil won't work on anything else other than an iPad Pro today, and vice versa. So yeah, it doesn't work on anything but those 2 devices.
Yeah. Cool. So, well, Kyle's here. We
Kyle's here.
had a hashtag
Hey,
going.
Kyle. How you
Nice
doing,
to see
man?
you.
Good to see you.
We had a nice little hashtag going called Run Kyle Run.
Oh, I'm
because
so
they
sorry.
I
They,
saw it
no, they were
trending on
asking
Twitter.
where you
Okay, cool.
So Kyle Webster just joined us, and for those of you who don't know Kyle Webster, I find it hard to believe, but if you don't know Kyle Webster, Kyle is world-renowned for creating Photoshop brushes, for instructing, for illustration, for just about everything cool in Photoshop.
Breakdancing.
Breakdancing, that's a sideline.
I did see a video of you. It was
Uh-oh.
like some Kyle Webster design video.
Oh, it's an old rap video I made
Yeah.
that nobody ever needs to see. Don't-
Respect, man. Respect.
We're gonna get that video. We're gonna play it live.
too late, it's too late, yeah.
Delete it. Delete it from the
No,
internet.
it's there. It's there forever. Yeah.
We're not sharing. the
I'm
link to that
embarrassed
one.
and proud. So.
All right, so what have you got for us today? We've just been talking to everyone about how
Yeah.
we can use your awesome brush pack that you created for us in Sketch.
That was a really cool project, and I tried with that to get 7 brushes that I thought would just kind of cover a cool range of
Yeah.
effects that people might have, and especially brushes that were different from the core brushes in the application.
Yeah.
And I thought it'd be just a really good way to amp up your game in Sketch and play with some pretty cool effects.
Yeah.
Emulating natural media. And today, I just thought it'd be fun for me to just do some drawing in Photoshop and demonstrate a little bit about how you can emulate natural
Let's
media.
see. Now, Kyle, everyone wants to see the video now.
It's not hard to find. Just go to YouTube and type original design gangsta.
Nice.
There you go.
This is ancient. No one's gonna get any of the references in that video anyway because I made it in 2007. So it talks about all kinds of like hot design topics from 2007. In fact, I name dropped Freehand, which was acquired by, and later sort of rolled into Illustrator.
Yeah.
Here's an interesting question. I would say it's really not designed for this, but I'll let you guys answer. Any tips on how I can use Adobe Photoshop Sketch or Draw for note taking? And
that's interesting.
Really wouldn't think to do it for that.
If you have good handwriting and you can read your own handwriting, I suppose it'd be fine to just bring it as a notepad and take notes. Sure.
Yeah, I mean, there are other dedicated note handwriting apps that are probably better suited. These are mostly for art and illustration and drawing.
Yeah. This is a drawing application, and it is a very useful drawing application now. In the last few weeks, testing some of the betas and stuff, I found myself forgetting that I wasn't in Photoshop because the functionality for me is the same because I'm, as a Photoshop illustrator, I use Photoshop to draw. So there's only so much I really do with it. And all that functionality now translates to mobile, which is thrilling for me.
Yeah, it is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Hola, Anna, I saw you. She's like saying hi like every 5 seconds.
All right, should we let Kyle get drawing?
Is my screen now, can people see what's on my screen?
All right, is this screen up?
Question.
It's up.
I know I've got HDMI. Okay.
Awesome.
You're up.
Cool. Well, I wasn't going to play with this brush, but isn't that fun?
Whoa, that's
all right.
so awesome.
He's already just drawn something 10 times better than I
This
can.
one is called Super Wet. And
nice.
it's just dropping wet ink on wet paper, kind of letting it just sort of splash around. But I thought since we're in California and I've seen a lot of people skateboarding, it'd be fun to draw a cat skateboarding with a hat and maybe a coffee and some palm trees in the back, something like that. So I thought I'd just do that. And what I wanted to show was how I can use my traditional drawing process in a digital environment exactly as I normally would traditionally in Photoshop using custom brushes. And the first thing I always say to people about working digitally is, as an artist, you don't want to fight your tools. And that goes for anybody. If you're a traditional watercolorist, what you really don't want to do is go out and buy really cheap student-grade watercolors and then try and paint a really beautiful big flat wash and realize that the paints are not going to hold up to it. If you buy cheap paper, it's not going to take the paint well. If you buy really cheap brushes, they're not going to hold a lot of water. So you're already shooting yourself in the foot. And I think the same could be applied for digital tools. If you use digital tools that work right out of the gate, then you can just get to the business of making stuff, and that's fun.
Got it.
So for me, drawing with pencil is always the most natural way to draw. And we all, as kids, were drawing with pencil and crayon, and I really wanted to make a pencil that felt like a pencil.
Now, for those of you who can't see it, I know we saw Brooke using her iPad Pro with Apple Pencil, and Kyle's got a Wacom tablet in his lap. So
this is from 2005.
Which proves that it's more about the artist than it is about the technology.
But actually, if we have time, a little bit later, I talked to Michael about this. We might want to do a very short demo of Wacom's very new, very cool mobile studio.
Pro.
Yeah, nice. Yeah.
And I've got that right here, and I was going to bust it out and maybe play around with it a little bit. So you want to just check it out. So I've already got all my brushes loaded here, though, so it's easier for me to just play around for this demonstration. So I've got a pencil here that, much like the Apple Pencil, because of the tilt recognition, I can use the side of the pencil for a thicker line and go from a very, very faint line to a nice dark line. And then I can also use the tip.
Oh, nice.
Just draw like that. There's built-in paper texture there with the brush, so you don't have to do anything extra to add there. And for this little cat, I thought it'd be cool if he was wearing like a kind of a tipped-up baseball hat, People used to write stuff on the bottom of the lid. Remember that? Like in the 80s? I don't remember what it used to say. Jams or something?
Yeah, people put like patches and stickers
on it, totally.
Yeah.
So we could just put like a little circle there and some little things. So he's got a little hat and have his little cat ear sticking out the side there.
Someone said hello from Wichita. I grew up close to Wichita.
Oh, cool.
Neighbors.
You guys
then
knew
we
each
also
other.
have hi from South Africa, Italy,
Whoa,
San Francisco,
everywhere.
Germany,
That's
UK,
amazing.
Colombia. Welcome everybody.
Germany.
Sweet.
Hey, my kids speak German.
Portugal.
My wife is German, my kids speak German. I hear German every day, and I'm embarrassed to say that my German comprehension is still terrible. So shame on me. I really
welcome
need to get
from
on
everyone
that.
from around the world, including Japan, I just saw.
Wow,
so
that's
welcome.
amazing.
Cool.
This cat's coming along already. I like him.
Oh, I'm just
The
gonna.
flipped up bill.
What's fun about working this way is like with pencil, it does feel like pencil. So if I want to do like some shading or something, I can just bust it out really fast. And I can always come in and smudge it around maybe with the thumb, like that.
Oh, very
just like,
cool.
Get it all dark. No, I don't want to do that. But if I do a light touch, I can just kind of smudge the pencil around.
No, and that
cool.
was a
Isn't that
key
fun?
point, and I don't want to keep harping on this, but when he said if you do it with a light touch, that is the advantage of using a stylus, any stylus, over a mouse, because a mouse is just going to be a click on or off.
Yeah.
And no matter what stylus you're using, if it's pressure sensitivity, you've stepped your game up 10 times over anyone else using a mouse.
Totally.
Yeah.
It's impossible to draw with a mouse for me, but anyway, sorry.
No, I'm the same way. I feel like I'm like banging rocks together when I use a mouse. It's like, I'm sure some people can draw with rocks really, really well. They're very talented. I am not one of those people.
There is a really famous and brilliant illustrator named Bob Stack, and he has been making gorgeous illustrations for covers of the New Yorker and other publications and many, many picture books. And I heard a rumor, and I don't know if it's still true, that he still uses a mouse and draws in Photoshop 3 for all of his professional work. Yeah,
that's amazing. That's incredible.
I don't know if that's still true, but you guys should, even if it's not true, look him up and check out his work because it's so amazing. He's done many, many fantastic covers for many magazines, and his picture books are out of this world. I think he's done probably like 60 or 80 or some crazy number, I can't remember.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Definitely.
That's cool. Now, I just you've been doing this whole thing with just one brush, correct? Have you been
I'm just
changing
sketching with the pencil. I'm sketching with the pencil, and it's all, the line weight you see, all the variation is exactly like it would be with a real pencil. I'm getting that all from sensitivity of the tilt and the pressure. And again, this is a very old tablet. I mean, in my studio, I work with a Wacom 22 HD and a 24 HD. And these are really nice, big, beautiful screens to draw on. And but the thing is, if you get used to drawing this way, I've been using a regular tablet like this, this model, since college, since 1998. So I think it's just kind of, even though I'm not used to doing it all the time now, I just kind of now, I go back to muscle memory and I start remembering what it's like to draw on my lap and look at a screen or whatever.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
And I'm going to give a shout out to Ryan here who mentioned AstroPad in the chat. And AstroPad is for those of you who are on an iPad Pro and a Mac, that's another solution. So that will turn your iPad Pro into a graphics tablet for your Mac. So that's an app that you can get from the App Store, and thanks Ryan for mentioning that in the chat. That's another option.
I like AstroPad a lot. It's actually fantastic. It works really well. The first couple of releases, there's a little bit of lag, and now I think they've caught up really nicely. And
Duet Display just came out with theirs. So Duet Display
I've never
Pro
tried that.
now has their option for turning it into a tablet as well. So lots of options for tablet users or tablet want-to-be users.
So is Duet another app that you can download?
Yeah, it's an app, but the difference is, AstroPad mirrors. Duet was always just turning your iPad into a second display.
Okay, gotcha.
Now they've added the Apple Pencil support to that second display.
Okay, now I got it.
Cool.
I have not even heard of that. See, I learned something already.
Now I want to. Maybe if I can, you mind if I ask Kyle a few questions? So I think I've just been so impressed just watching you here. You're like talking, you're drawing, you're multitasking, you're doing all these things. I think a lot of people have this misconception that I can't draw or I can't do this. And I think it's a lot like...
I can't draw.
Oh,
nonsense.
you totally, everyone can draw. That's my opinion.
No, I can't.
But, I think...
People that have seen me draw will say, yeah, he can't draw.
Yeah. Well, I think being an illustrator, being an artist, or being a designer is a lot like training for a sport, right? Like, you don't just go out and one day you're amazing at it. You have to train at it.
Okay, that makes sense.
I've been thinking as you've been drawing here, just like whipping out this amazing cat on a skateboard with coffee and palm trees. It's like you're training every day, right? Like, tell us about it.
Everyday drawing, and since I was 4. So, of course, like anything else, my kids are really good at playing violin, and I watch them play, and I'm amazed by what they're accomplishing at 6 and 8 years old. And then I realized, wait a second, my son started when he was 3, my daughter started when she was 4, and I am forgetting that they've been playing now for several years on a daily basis, half an hour to 45 minutes a day. And of course they can play music really well because they've got that just in their muscles now and in their brains, and it's become this building process.
Absolutely.
And drawing is the same way. If you just do it every day with the intention of getting better, not with just, so I think that's the important component as well.
Yeah.
A couple quick things here. Some people are mentioning duet display. You're right. So the person that said duet display was always intended to be a second display. You're right, but now they have Duet Display Pro, which is that second display, and now Apple Pencil support for drawing. So
Very
they have
cool.
2 categories now.
I'm going to grab the leaky fountain pen because this brush is actually one of the brushes that is now available in Sketch.
I actually have it pulled open right
So
here.
Kyle, tell us about your brushes that you're offering graciously for us to be able to give away. How many are there?
Okay.
And people are asking, can they use them in Photoshop as well as Sketch?
Yep.
Which the answer is yes.
These brushes were from my existing library, although slightly adjusted so that they would feel perfect in Sketch, so that if you were transitioning from working in Photoshop to working in Sketch, you would not notice any difference. And there were 7 of them, and I tried to cover a range of media. So I have one watercolor brush in there that's one of my absolute favorites. I have this leaky fountain pen, I call it, which is what I'm now drawing with for this little kitty cat here. That's an inking tool. And then I also put in some paint brushes. One is an oil brush called Oil Rich brush, and that brush is kind of fun because when you paint with it, you get a slight variation in the hue, saturation, and value of your color with every stroke. And so that kind of gives you this impression of building up the paint as you go. And that's in there. There's another brush that's a bristle brush. It's a very soft bristle brush. And then there's one of my new rake brushes, which is a set I released recently, and it's been really popular and doing great. And I just thought it'd be cool to have one of those in there for people to enjoy. You've been playing around with it?
Yeah, I actually have it up on my screen. I was showing it.
Oh, there, yeah, that's exactly.
It's so cool. I love it.
Which is your favorite of the collection?
You know what? I have to say, I really, before Kyle gave us his brush set, I really love the watercolor brush that we already have in the app because it kind of like grows and moves and you can dry it. But like your watercolor brush that you gave us just like helps round the whole thing out because it's, oh my gosh, I absolutely love it. It's such
I was excited because they play really well together. You get certain effects with one and certain with the other, and they just, as a team, really give you some cool wet media effects. And I'll use some watercolors in here, and this is going to be kind of a mixed media bag. You know, who knows what's going to happen.
Love it.
All of these kinds of things I do usually, I don't have a huge game plan. And what I love is, if you're working digitally, you don't have to really have this fear of experimenting. You can just recklessly go for it and start painting and drawing. And if you make a mistake, just undo, and if you don't like it, start a new layer, or, you know, who cares, right? There's just no pressure.
And Matt Johnson's asking, where's the best place to download brushes for Photoshop Sketch? Is there a place to download?
There isn't really a place. We do have a link that we sent out. Maybe we can post that to the chat again. The link to get Kyle's brushes. We have a web page that you can go to, and it tells you how to load them into Sketch, it tells you how to load them into Photoshop, and it tells you a little bit about what they are and how to get them. And once again, they're free. We're giving them away.
But but here's the thing that I think that's getting lost in this, is that would have been a good question 2 days ago. But now that you can use Photoshop brushes in Sketch, wherever you find your favorite Photoshop brushes, you can now bring those into Sketch.
Every single one of
So
them.
any Photoshop brush that you like or find, or brush packs that are already out there, download them into Photoshop and use them in Sketch.
I'm a little bit biased. You should get Kyle's brushes.
I agree. Yes, we should absolutely get Kyle's brushes. But to answer the question of where to download brushes,
absolutely.
now you can use your Photoshop brushes in Sketch.
Yep. Very cool. Yeah,
thank you. That's very nice. Thank you.
So someone is asking about the workflow from tablet to desktop to print, and I actually want to point out that that's actually really easy to do. You know, sometimes I'm outside and I've got, you know, I want to start drawing or doodling, and I can do that on my iPad. Well, within all of our mobile apps, you can actually send all the layered files to your desktop, whether you decide you want to work in Photoshop or Illustrator, whatever your tool of choice is. There's a little feature in the share sheet that allows you to send your fully layered file to Photoshop or Illustrator, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, so you're out and about, you create your masterpiece, and then you say, well, this looks good enough to either continue in Photoshop or I'm done. You just tap the share button and send to Photoshop CC on the desktop. When you get to your desk, it's open, layered, ready to go.
Absolutely, and just a little reminder, you need to be logged in with the same account on both devices for that to work. Because we do have a lot of Adobe magic, or not that magic, we can't guess which account you're logged into. So just make sure if it's not working for some reason, make sure you're logged into the same account on both of your devices.
So let's see, if I log in as yours, I can just have stuff randomly opening on your computer. That'd be great. Okay.
Send to Terry.
Send to, yeah, there needs to be a list of names.
He's immediately thinking of a way to prank you. Right. I like that.
Terry opens Photoshop. Boom, 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 boom.
500 files open.
Awesome. This cat is looking awesome. It looks really
great. This is just me doodling.
It's kind of like a little tiger cat.
Yeah, it is. I don't even know what
I'm
it is
liking
now.
it.
Is it a cat anymore?
Yeah, I'm really digging it.
I'm kind of into tigers. My first picture book came out in July, and it has a tiger on the cover. And lately, I found myself just drawing more and more tigers in different places.
That's awesome. Yeah, tell us a little bit more about that. You're getting into illustration, illustrating books. What prompted that?
Well, so I've been an editorial illustrator and advertising illustrator since around 2003, and I've always wanted to make a picture book, but it's not that easy. It's hard to get a picture book sold.
Yeah.
I got a great agent named Lori Abkemeyer, and she helped me to sell my first book to Scholastic, and it was a 2-book deal, so I needed to get on making that second book ASAP. But yeah, the book came out in July, and it's a book for kids about manners, which I know immediately people are like, wow, that sounds stodgy,
I think maybe I need that one.
It is, it's good for adults too.
So Phil asks, do you guys ever use gloves for drawing?
Oh,
I've seen these. They're really fun. I don't have one, but sure, they look great. I think it depends on what happens with your skin. Some people have a little more oil on their skin. My hands are always really dry, so I have no issues with the tablet surface, but I've got friends who've got these gloves, they swear by them, they love them, it helps you glide along the surface and you don't smudge up your screen. And so yeah, they're a pretty cool product, I just don't use them. But cool. I think they're great for some people, and they're easy to find. There are lots of different brands now, and they look cool too. Actually, when you're wearing one, you feel kind of like a professional, because it goes over just your pinky and the side of your hand.
Like some sort of secret agent.
Either that or kind of like a Madonna thing from the 80s, like those sort of half gloves or whatever.
Yeah.
But once again, I'm dating
wear
myself.
One white glove, that's it.
Oh yeah, MJ. All right.
I did see someone ask about vector brushes on mobile, and I do want to tell you that is something that we are working on. Don't tell anyone.
That's pretty cool.
But we are working on getting Illustrator brushes in Adobe Draw, which is our freeform vector painting and drawing tool. So
very nice.
Coming soon. Can't tell you when.
And Will, I saw a question come up. Will was asking, will we ever support? And I hear this question a lot, or concerns from people that work in agencies. Maybe they're freelancing. Will we ever have multiple account support? So in other words, maybe I have my own personal Adobe ID, but when I go to work for XYZ company, I have to log in with their Adobe ID, and I want to be able to bring my stuff that I did there to my account.
Yeah, that's a good question. That's a hard one to answer. I am not the person to answer that. I would love that too.
Okay. Well, there's your answer.
We do have social login now. You can log into our mobile apps using a Facebook account if that's something that you prefer to do. But yeah, I'm not that guy. I don't know. Sorry.
I don't think you're any guy.
So I want to mention something here about options. I'm just showing you this because it's a way to work, but it's not maybe what I'll do for the final. But what I love too is in Photoshop, you can decide, am I going to paint with big blotchy splatches of color like this? This is a beta brush I have called Creamy. Am I going to paint on the same layer so some of the ink actually comes through and I overlap it a little bit, Or am I going to change layers? I think something people should try more in Photoshop is working on the same layer like you're working on a piece of paper, just to kind of force yourself out of that comfort zone of working with layers so much, because you actually get cooler mixed media effects.
I need my comfort zone.
That's what everyone says, right?
I need that safety net of, oops.
It's fun though to work like this because it's kind of risky, And also this brushes like this, they kind of work better when you're a little sloppy with them, and you change the direction that you move your stylus, how much pressure you use, the angle, and so on. You don't want to get in the habit of using custom brushes like this. I don't want to just scrub back and forth and back and forth and back and forth like I'm using a coloring book.
So Anne's asking, is that a watercolor brush that you're using now?
No, this one's called Creamy, and I couldn't really tell you exactly what media it's supposed to emulate, because depending on how you use it, it kind of looks like different stuff. So if I really just use a lot of pressure, I can do stuff like this, which has this nice thick paint kind of effect. But I can also really softly just glaze over that using a lot less pressure.
That's very cool.
So it's a very versatile tool. It's going to be in my next update for the Mega Pack.
Very cool. So now tell us a little bit, you said, you don't want to just scrub back and forth with these brushes.
Right,
tell us a little bit about like how you're creating what you're creating right now.
Well, the way I work is I try and remember what it feels like to use the tool that I'm emulating in real life. So, for example, with charcoal, I don't scrub when I draw. I angle the pencil a certain way, the charcoal pencil. I am using a lot of different pressure variations along one particular line. I never just use exactly the same amount of pressure, even for a single line. And so with the stylus, you have to get in the habit of using that tool the same way. And it makes a world of difference. You will notice in the marks that you make a much better just overall sort of gestalt. I guess the gestalt, it's just everything feels more painterly, more natural, and more of your hand is in the work then. So
that's really cool. That's a really great tip, because I think, to think about how that brush would feel if you were doing it naturally.
Yeah. And then what's cool too is like mix up the tools you use for different parts of the image. So like for the sky, okay, maybe I kind of like this. It's kind of fun. I could grab some white and just pop in like some cloudy stuff.
So I've got a question for both of you.
Sure.
What advice would you give to those of us who are just afraid to draw, or just how do we get started? What do you recommend would be our course of action for just getting started with drawing digitally, or should we start on paper? Like what's the course of action?
Good question. With the iPad Pro, you could just start with an iPad Pro and sketch every day.
Okay.
But I think my recommendation to everybody is to always draw from observation to start with. Look at simple objects you have around the house, a coffee mug, or a tube of toothpaste or something like that. And look at the silhouette of that object and try to just draw around what you see. Use your eyes like a seismograph, where it's like reading from the brain to the hand and then tracing that. It's contour drawing, blind contour drawing is what some people call it, where you don't look at the paper at all, you just look at the object and trace. But I do a cheating blind contour exercise with my students, which is, look at what if it's a coffee mug, for example, and I can just show you what I mean. If I were drawing a coffee mug from observation, I'll just grab a little ink tool here.
While you're doing that, is there a way to send from sketch to draw?
There is, but that was a sneak peek that we showed yesterday at the keynote at Max. So we're doing this really awesome thing where we've thrown away file formats. You don't need to know what a Photoshop file is. You don't need to know what an Illustrator file is. You just have stuff. And you can open all that stuff within any mobile app, and it's really awesome. That's something we're going to be shipping really soon. So I have sneaky builds of that.
Sneaky builds.
Maybe we can show you.
I want to go to the sneaky build server.
Yeah, I was Adobe.sneakybuild.com.
Right.
So let's see what Kyle's.
If I were drawing a coffee mug, I would look and say, okay, and I'm going to change the color here for just a moment and show you what I mean. While I'm looking at that coffee mug, I want to say, okay, what simple shapes do I see? Well, here is an ellipse, right?
Yep.
So I want to say, is that ellipse closer to a full circle? Is it closer to being flat? What's the angle of that ellipse? Things like that. So I'll look at that and say, okay, there's an ellipse. Then I'll try and use X-ray vision if I'm looking at that coffee mug and say, well, I know there's an ellipse at the bottom too. Is that ellipse more of an open circle than the one at the top? The answer is yes. And that just goes with the rules of perspective. If my horizon line is here, then anything below it, okay, if I have a perfect circle up here, is going to, as we move away from, wrong way. A circle that's on the floor, rather, as it's getting closer to me, is going to move like this. That's how we get the illusion of depth. But anyway, I want to look at something like a simple shape like this. I want to look at the angle of this.
Lindsay says she just wants to watch you draw all day.
I know, I saw that one too. I'm the same way. I'm like, whoa, keep
that's
going.
Really nice, thank you. And then look at the shapes you understand in the world, like letters. This is a backwards C,
Oh, yeah.
And what's wider than what? So is the top wider than the bottom? This is more narrow than this. Do a lot of measuring. Say how tall is the mug relative to how wide it is. So it's a little taller than it is wide. When you do simple objects like this, it really teaches you the building blocks of what every drawing is, which is really just observation, looking, measuring, looking at angles and things like that, and trying to distill things down to their simplest shapes. If you work big to small, you'll always succeed.
But the key out of everything you just said is I'm not going to get any better at drawing unless I do it.
No, you must do it
Yes.
every day.
Yeah,
Just
and
spend
I think
20
that-
minutes.
Yeah, and that was the point that I was trying to make earlier about training. You know, if you want to learn how to play baseball or basketball, you're going to go out and you're going to practice shooting baskets. You're going to practice dribbling, and I think that's the same way with illustration and design and drawing. Pretty much everything is you have to train for it. You know, Nike does a really great job of making these awesome like training videos. You never see their ads. They're never like the actual game. It's always the guy that's training or the woman that's training.
That's a good point.
And you know,
I never thought of that.
I think with art and design, we have this idea that either
you
you're
wake up
good
one
or
day
you're not
and you're
good.
an artist and you know everything.
No,
Yeah,
it's
and
totally not
that's
true.
not the case. There's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears.
But I love
sometimes literally.
I love the Nike example because
that
you're
can
right.
go into
All their
it.
ads are people training,
Yeah.
not the actual sport.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean that's just the way it is. You have to spend time working on whatever it is that you want to get better at. But the key is to do it knowing that every day you are going to get better. And when you have that confidence and that knowledge, and it's totally true. And again, I point to my kids as an example. When they're sitting there playing a scale for the very first time that they haven't played, of course they're not going to play it well. By the 50th time they've played it, it's no big deal.
Yep.
And the same goes for drawing a mug.
Yeah,
Yep.
absolutely.
So I'm on a separate layer now. I wanted to go under here and just
All right,
mess around with
Jevin
this.
Kumar, I didn't see your
this is fun.
question, so I'm sorry if I missed it. If you can ask it again, we'll try and get to it.
What was the question?
I didn't see
Oh,
it.
sorry.
He said,
Okay.
we still didn't answer his question. Well, I missed
Oh,
it.
well, sorry. There's a lot of people talking
Yeah.
at the same
There
time.
is someone asking about if they can use your other brushes that are not included in this pack in Photoshop Sketch.
Not yet, but
Not yet, because
hopefully
Kyle
soon.
uses this amazing thing called Tool Presets, which is TPLs, and that's why
Yeah.
I love your brushes more than
Thank
any
you.
other Photoshop brush, because he really thinks a lot about. I mean, tell us a little bit about what you think
Sure.
when you're creating a brush.
So the reason I do that is because a tool preset will retain, for all time, your brush flow setting, the opacity setting, and the brush mode setting. And so because most of my brushes, and I would say about 80 to 90% of them, do rely on the flow being fixed, I have to save them as tool presets. Now, a lot of them, you know, what you could do is convert to an ABR, I suppose, by saving out a new brush, and you would then have to manually set the flow, except I think in Sketch we haven't yet gotten to the point where you can set flow, right?
Couple questions. One had to do with how would someone handle color blindness? In other words, how would they draw if they're colorblind with all the millions of colors we have available? And
Good
the question that
question.
we missed was, why is Adobe Draw in my hand? Like, why is it on the iPhone? It's so small. What?
So you can get
That's
Adobe.
that's a good
Yeah,
one for
you
you.
can get Adobe Draw on the iPad. And if you have an iPad Pro or even an Android tablet or an Android phone, it's available on all of those. So there are actually a lot of people that still use Draw on the phone.
Yeah.
I have an iPad and I can use
Well, and the
Draw
other
on the
thing
iPad.
is that phones aren't as small as they used to be.
That's
I
true.
mean,
Yeah.
this is a iPhone 7 Plus, and if I need to draw something really quick, I can.
Yeah.
So the question is not why would you introduce it? It's for the people that would use it and not the people that wouldn't. So it's a cross-platform app for
Yeah.
tablet and phone. If
Yeah.
you don't want to use it on the phone, you certainly don't have to.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, all these things, in some ways, are really in their infancy, if you think about it. And they're changing so quickly that who knows what's going to be happening in 2 years. Maybe people won't even use their desktops at all to do anything unless it's for, you know,
Yeah.
really, really hardcore, heavy processing work. But
Yeah.
for artists like myself, we might all just be sitting in a coffee shop finishing up our work for some editorial piece or whatever. Who
Yeah,
knows?
absolutely. And
And-
honestly, that's kind of my dream. I don't know about you guys, but
And
Having
I
that
would say
freedom.
along those lines, I mean, I'm even here right now on this live show,
Yeah.
and the only device I have with me is my phone. My iPad's back in my room.
Oh, yeah.
So if I needed to do something really quick, yeah, it's not the biggest screen I own, but it's the one I have with me.
Right. This stuff's really incredible. I mean, it's changing so fast. It's almost impossible to keep up. In some ways, I sort of have a hard time sometimes,
Yeah.
you know, because it's moving so fast. The speed is a little bit crazy, but that's just the world we live in.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, I can't imagine what it's like to work at Adobe and be thinking about this stuff all the time as fast as it is changing.
yeah, it's pretty crazy, and you know, it's a huge responsibility. Like, there's a lot of you guys out there that are watching, and Kyle and Terry. I mean, you guys are all amazing artists and designers, and it's a huge responsibility to say, wow, I'm making the tools that you guys use to be so creative.
That's why we're so
pretty
hard
humbling.
on you. We're not.
No, everyone's awesome.
So the question is, do I use, or I didn't say me in particular, but are you using a pen or finger to draw on the tablet? If it's a tablet, we're definitely using the Apple Pencil on the iPad Pro.
Apple Pencil's
on the phone,
amazing.
I have a Wacom stylus, like just a regular stylus that I'll use from time to time, but mostly my finger on the phone.
Yeah, and some of the Android tablets come with a stylus, and so those
like
are
the
great
Note,
for it
someone
as
said
well.
something about the Note, which comes with a stylus.
Yeah, absolutely.
That Apple Pencil is unbelievable, though.
Yeah, it is incredible. Someone's asking, are you using blending modes while using your brushes? Or are these all built into
Not at all,
your brushes?
no.
And how are you staying in the line so easily?
He's a pro, man. He trains.
I'm messing around. I mean, I'm on a separate layer. I can do whatever I want right now, so I can mess around with my line art anyway. But I better get to probably messing around with the cat a little bit and do some other stuff. I'm not sure how we're doing on time, by the way. I want to make sure I don't go over, whatever like that.
Here comes our timekeeper.
Oh bah,
Oh,
alors, il est
Timekeeper.
arrivé pour cette raison.
Okay, so you know what we could do?
Tell me.
We will do a 1-year Creative Cloud subscription giveaway.
Ooh.
So
Aha.
in the chat,
1 year
Nice.
Creative
and
Cloud
maybe
for
during
someone
that,
in the
maybe,
chat.
Kyle, you can try to plug the
Sure.
Wacom.
Excellent.
Very
We
cool.
can get that for you.
Thank you.
Oh man, someone's gonna
Someone's
get
about
lucky.
to win a
All right,
full
and let me
year
see
of
if I can
Creative Cloud.
save this to the
All
cloud.
the apps,
Okay, so what
all
they
the
have to do
services.
is
What
to
they have to
type
do.
a keyword in the chat, and the keyword is Kyle.
Ooh,
Kyle.
keyword
You have to type
Kyle.
in the chat, and
Yeah.
then
I love it.
That's it?
That's it. And then Nightbot with my robot,
Yep.
that I raised, and he will pick someone in the chat.
All right, so it's going to be
Cool.
a random drawing. To enter, all you have to do is type the word Kyle in the chat. That's
I think
it.
it's like a chant for Kyle.
Kyle,
Kyle.
I like mine better. Run, Kyle, run. But
I know.
that won't enter.
Well, that-
so,
It makes me
yeah.
sound like I
Yeah.
did something wrong and I'm running away.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
All right.
Typing
So-
me
Whoa,
won't work.
chat's
Yeah,
going
you have
so
to type the word
crazy.
Kyle.
Okay,
Kyle.
cool.
You just have to select your word.
Turn it on.
Looks
All
like
right.
some people are typing it in all caps and
Yeah.
hoping that maybe it will make a bigger
Look at that,
impact.
that's right. It's about to break
Oh,
the
look
chat.
at this thing. It's gorgeous.
It is gorgeous.
It's very nice.
Kyle.
Whoa. All right, so.
Wow, this thing's phenomenal.
It is.
The resolution is insane.
Do you have an HDMI connection? for that?
Clona, here we go. Get
Because
that
that's
in
all
there.
USB-C, right?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Sweet.
Hang on a minute. Now, where was I?
So we have the robot who's going to be.
The robot's about to pick, not me, so don't blame on me.
It's good?
Yeah.
All right.
I will ask my robot to pick someone.
All right, the
We're about to
robot.
pick.
The
Drum roll,
robot's choosing.
please.
Who is it?
Stefan
Vasciula.
Vasciula. Stefan Vasciula.
Congrats, Stefan.
Stefan, congratulations.
What's our Adobe Max? This one? Adobe Max
Yeah.
2016?
Yeah.
Boom.
Connecting.
All right, you can stop typing Kyle now. We have a winner.
The crowd's going wild. They can't stop.
All right, so let's go back here.
Oh, very cool.
And let's see.
So this is Photoshop running on this new
still
Wacom
going.
tablet.
Correct.
All right, slowing down. We have a winner.
Nice.
I'm trying to see if it loaded up to Creative Cloud.
Congratulations, Stefan, exactly.
That same file I was just working on.
Did you?
I saved it there, but let's see. I'm in Kyle Library. Alright. Maybe it didn't finish saving.
Can't stop, won't stop. Doc Reed.
You can tell them like if they subscribe to the YouTube channel, they will get more chances next time.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so I just heard from the robot creator that
coming.
if you subscribe to the Creative Cloud YouTube channel, that will increase your chances of winning. There will be more giveaways. So
Very nice.
subscribe to this channel right now if you want a better chance at winning next time.
Oh, this is cool. So this is like a little setup thing here.
Well,
Oh, yeah.
Here's the cool thing. What Kyle's setting up right now is Wacom's newest product. It's not even out on the market yet. I don't even know how he got one. I'm going to have to take it from him.
Oh,
But
you know.
anyway,
Black magic.
Oh, yeah.
It's the Wacom Studio Pro.
Right.
And it's a
really
Windows
cool.
10 computer inside of a display Cintiq like display with, and the killing thing about this particular product is the pen has 8,000 levels of pressure.
That's insane.
So
it's insane.
It's the most precise stylus I think on the market, as far as the levels of pressure that is. So self-contained unit. It's a laptop, runs software, so you can actually run Photoshop on it. And it's got the, of course, Cintiq and pressure-sensitive touchscreen built in.
The pen is the best pen I've ever used.
Yeah.
Wow.
I can't believe how sensitive it is. It's amazing. And the only thing I'm noticing is that because we're using
It is Wacom.
the connection to mirror my display, the pen is thinking it needs to travel across both screens. And so my calibration is completely off. So before I do any drawing, I would have to fix that. I know we're tight for time. So I could show you something I drew on this in just a little,
Oh, we
very,
got-
a
we
short.
have a few minutes.
Oh, wow.
So if it's
For Halloween,
Whoa,
I decided
that's
to
so
draw
cool.
a little Halloween sketch, and
we have 15 minutes. So
do we have 15 minutes? All right. So can you? Who's really good at
We'll stall
Windows?
while you recalibrate.
I'll try and figure this out
All right.
because I'm usually using Mac, but now this is running Windows, so I need to figure out how to get to my displays.
Control panels,
If you
maybe?
go to Cortana,
Oh, see,
then
I'm
you
so glad
can
you're
then
here.
you can
How
type
many Windows
anything you
engineers
want.
does it take
Now,
to
how do you get the
recalibrate
keyboard?
a Wacom
So you can
tab?
say
Play
yeah, so you
settings.
should just
Bam.
click on it.
Okay. Identify, detect.
I think it would be in the Wacom settings, wouldn't it? No, maybe.
So
All right. So what he's working on doing
Can you
is
type in Wacom? That
whenever
Wacom?
you're using a Cintiq
I don't know.
or Studio Pro, you actually have to tell the
Oh,
stylus.
I know what I need to do.
Um,
I know what I need to do.
via a calibration process where the corners are, where the center is, and how you're actually placing the pen or stylus on the screen. So because he's connected to our
I
streaming
need to,
software, it's taking into account that it needs to be on both screens,
I know
which
what I
it
need to
doesn't.
do.
So if he
have to change the
recalibrates, then it
resolution.
will just use the
Screen
one
resolution.
that he's trying
so
to
let's
draw.
do that.
Trying to mirror.
We need to do screen resolution, I think, because I have
I
it.
think it's just it's this.
Oh, look at you.
Oh wow,
I think.
is that it?
Oh, that's text and so on.
Duplicate.
Okay.
Yes, it is an Apple
Good,
Watch.
good.
I think it has to do with this, no?
Let's see what happens when I do this.
Yeah, you see?
See how I'm here, but it's there.
Oh, you need to launch.
Ah, hey, see that?
Oh.
Watch this. I know what it is. Let's go
Oh,
back.
you
Where
found
were
it?
we? Where were we? We went to displays, right?
Display. If you
Cortana.
look Cortana,
Da, 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 da. Here.
This is a
Okay,
great ad
and check this
happening
out.
right here if anyone wants to.
Landscape.
Nice.
Now. Oh, it's getting there. It's getting there.
Closer.
We need to
They
flip.
say press Control Alt
That's a
arrow
joke.
down.
Oh, apply maybe?
Apply. Okay, now is it gonna recognize?
Give you the Wacom link, just Wacom.com. It's right on their homepage for the Wacom Studio Pro.
This is live TV, everybody.
Yeah, how many illustrators does it take to change
I get that.
display settings?
Right.
The answer is 4.
Okay, I don't know how this works.
Yeah,
okay.
I agree, Joe. I think it's most likely the Wacom settings too.
See, it's everything, guys. This is funny. I move my hand to the bottom left, it goes to the bottom right. So there's something that's reversing everything I do. Now, if I'm really an artist who's worth his salt, I should be able to draw that way.
Yeah, Kyle,
So,
can't
no.
you draw backwards?
I can't do it.
You know, this reminds me actually
have
of when I
Wacom
was
settings?
in elementary
Yeah,
school.
we
We used
do.
to have this thing called backwards day, where you or like opposite day, where you do everything that's opposite of what someone's telling you to do. And I feel like
Display
maybe we're
settings.
having an opposite day here.
So
If at first you don't succeed, skydiving is not for
are
you.
you mirroring the display or extending it? If you mirror,
Mirroring.
it should be okay.
Yeah, we're mirroring.
Mirroring.
We need Doug here. Doug from Wacom. He'd be able to come figure this out for us right away.
Do a search for Wacom. I believe it's probably going to be in the Wacom settings.
Would it be this one?
It's mirroring, so that's fine.
Okay, so
Where's our tech support? We need somebody to be over our shoulder telling us what to do in a
I'm
really
trying.
disappointed voice. Kind of like that beautiful TV show from England. Do you know that with the IT department?
Right.
What was it called? The IT crowd?
Oh yeah, the IT crowd.
Yeah. Have you tried turning it on and off again?
Yeah.
Yes, we have tried that. Now we're really in trouble.
So maybe it's the stylus.
Oh, maybe.
So,
I don't know.
question:
Change
how do I
tablet
decide
pen
which
settings?
Yeah,
app
so
on the
Go back.
iPad Pro to use first? It depends on
Yeah.
what I'm doing. So, just like on the desktop, Do I need Photoshop, Illustrator, InDesign, Muse? Which
Let's
one
go to
first?
Wacom's,
Would depend on what I'm trying to
You
do.
know what I'm talking about? The Wacom pen settings?
To calibrate.
What are the other
Ba-da-bum,
ones for
ba-da-bum,
connecting the
ba-da-bum,
iPad?
Wacom
Like a Wacom
tablet.
to a MacBook
Here's our
or Mac.
pen.
There are two,
Calibrate.
AstroPad and the new
Oh, look.
Duet Display Pro. Both of those are
Ta-da!
apps designed.
Da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
He's got the
Michael.
calibration up. Both of those are designed to
Bingo.
allow
Now.
you to use an iPad
Okay.
Pro and Apple Pencil as a
Da-da-da-da.
tablet to your Mac.
Hey, très bien.
AstroPad has the advantage that it can work wirelessly and connected, and Duet Display works only via the USB cable.
Cool. We got it.
All right, we got it.
Merci,
So this going.
Michael, and we have now figured this out. So, anyway,
Was it the
amazing
Wacom
thing about
settings?
this,
I
it
didn't
was
see what
it was the pen calibration settings. You were correct.
Ooh. Look at that. Terry
Listen to
knows
Terry.
best.
Terry knows. All right. So what I love here is I can use any of my brushes with no lag, which is insane.
Awesome.
And I can also do things like this. I can
I wish we had an
grab
overhead
a giant.
camera.
Let's see, like for my watercolors,
I
for
know.
instance.
Yeah, that'd be very cool.
Oh, and I've got some beta brushes I could show you. Is that cool?
Ooh, yeah.
Beta brushes.
I like it. I like it a lot.
All right, let me see where I put those. They are in, let's see, Kyle. There's only a couple of them, but
There's only a few Kyle brushes. He's only made a couple, guys.
several, 400
big
at the
deal.
moment. 400. Oh, I hope I loaded
The
them.
fix was the just finding the calibration, the Wacom calibration pin settings. So that's where it was.
All right, so this is one of them.
Someone says you're like a
has
Tomb
this-
Raider game character. I think that's a compliment.
Never been on Tomb Raider.
Does that mean you're an archaeologist?
Or does that mean I'm an animated character?
No, it just means you.
That would actually be kind of fun.
I think it's a
You know,
compliment.
I don't know if anyone on the stream was watching the Max keynote yesterday, but they had the character animator.
Sweet. Very
Oh,
good.
nice.
So that's the limit.
So, am I the tripod or?
I'll be the
Oh,
tripod.
she'll be the tripod.
And you guys gotta tell me where I
Sorry
gotta.
for this.
Let's go over your head, or will it reach?
These are, by the way,
That's where
I'll
it's
just
gonna
want to
go.
interject
Does that
here for a
work?
second and say that
Right.
these are very advanced brushes that usually would have a little bit of
See,
lag.
I just asked
but
for a camera, and
it
one
doesn't happen.
magically shows up behind me. This is pretty cool.
I am the
Right, and we have a
assistant.
human tripod. This is awesome.
Are you guys able to see Kyle doing his thing?
Normally, brushes with this much information that Photoshop has to be calculating in the background while I'm making a stroke,
Whoa,
you would
that's
experience some
beautiful.
kind of lag. But to get these watercolor washes, there's no lag at all.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and so I'm amazed because I think this model has, I think it's 4 gigs of RAM.
Someone's asking, how do you keep track of all those brushes?
Well, since I made them, I just know exactly where everything is. It's no problem.
Sure, brag. Go ahead.
No, I mean really, it's not. It's kind of like your kids. You know all their names and you know how old they
Sometimes.
are, and maybe if you're paying
Just
attention.
summon the wet edge brush, and the
Right.
wet edge brush
The wet edge
comes.
brush comes.
Right.
Are they voice activated?
Are they
Siri.
voice activated? That's a darn good idea. I need to think about doing that.
Here first. You heard it here first.
I
I
like
know.
it. I like
want
it.
royalties.
I'm gonna give you money.
Patent it.
Yeah, patent it.
So this is one of the watercolor brushes I'm going to be releasing soon. But I mean, it's
Oh,
just
wow,
it's
this
just
is
fun.
gorgeous.
I'm working with a new paper texture too. I'm going to try and release about 15 or 20 that only use this different paper texture.
Yeah, I was just gonna comment on it. That paper texture is fantastic.
It's a scanned piece of Canson 140 pound
Beautiful.
paper, and then I have to go and make a non-tiling pattern out of it.
Okay.
Which is something you could do maybe for a little tutorial sometime. If anyone's interested in making patterns in Photoshop, it's a great application for doing that. One of the exercises with my digital painting students is we actually do have to make a pattern, and everyone really gets a kick out of it. It's fun. Some people have even posted their patterns to sell on spoonflower.com. See what happens, I wish them well. But I was going to take a rake brush now. Let's see. And that's the one we have in Sketch, which is the Rake Jam, and I could just do like a swoop of hair here, whoop,
Oh my gosh,
like that.
amazing.
That's fun, right? And then we could grab that same leaky Oh, now I've got my Windows issue happening. This happens with Windows sometimes. I'm not used to it yet. Sorry, guys.
So Kyle, someone said, if you prefer the Wacom drawing over the iPad and Apple Pencil.
I like them both for different reasons. I'm not sure if they're asking specifically about this device or my regular one.
So you can answer it any way you want.
Okay. Well, this is a fully functioning version of Photoshop. So if I need a fully functioning version of Photoshop, I would use this. If I need to do an editorial illustration for a client like that requires sketch, line art, and color behind it, like I typically do, I could do that in the iPad and just do it anywhere. So it would just be kind of an either-or thing. It wouldn't be that big of a deal for me to decide. I'd be happy working with either
It's a little bit of a form of escapism. But it creates
and that's what's cool is that most of these products now, everything's just
that surpasses politics. It surpasses.
It depends on the kind of work you do, of course, because the Mobile Studio Pro is a fully functioning
it's just
PC,
about
so it's running Windows. It can run any application that runs on Windows.
A dream for that moment that people
so if your
are
work
connected to of beauty
demands
and that's
that
something
you
very
have
visceral
to use,
and very powerful. And can bring people together. I believe that creativity
some really heavy
is
3D
as important
application
as sleeping
that
and eating,
with,
and I believe that everybody
iOS, then no.
should be promoting getting in touch with their creativity.
Right, so.
How you make your eggs in the morning
Guys, we got about
for your kids, if that's
cool.
what it is.
Cool.
I think that process
I'm just gonna smudge
and using your
around.
hands is absolutely essential
Oh, okay.
and
Well,
fulfilling.
quickly.
Beautiful.
Let me do something fun here. Right, I'm gonna grab.
So
some paint.
you've talked a lot about what it
Orange
means
paint.
to be a creator today when
And
everything is kind of
here
so
I'm having
multi-referential
the hardest time doing my
and
brush
creative
stroke. Okay.
disciplines are blurring.
Probably because I have 400
and
loaded.
you have video on your Instagram and you're doing all these
Somebody's doubled up. Is
you're
that me?
using a lot of different media. How does that feel?
All right, I'm gonna put some paint over here.
It feels empowering.
that. I'm gonna switch the color.
It can be challenging. You have to take the risk.
And blend it a little bit. And this is Photoshop's mixer brushes, which, by the way, people do not use these things enough. You can mix. Look at this. I can mix stuff together.
Oh my gosh, that's
Just
amazing.
pull it. It's so fun.
That's so cool.
People need to do this more often. It's the best. But what I was going to do is, let's say I've got this blotchy area of paint, and now I want it to look like it's impasto. It's got thick paint, right? So I can just pull up my actions and replace. Let's see. Replace actions. Oh, never mind. I can't do it. I don't have my Dropbox loaded. I'm sorry, guys. But anyway, I was going to do some impasto painting. So check out that. If you go to YouTube, you can find some examples of me painting with impasto in Photoshop, and it's something people should really try because it's so fun.
That's cool. So is that your YouTube channel? If you can go check it out?
Yeah, just do Kyle T.
Great.
Webster at YouTube, and you're set to go.
Awesome.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks, Kyle. This was great.
Guys, this was
Yeah.
awesome.
You were awesome on stage the other day.
Oh,
I am
thank you.
inspired by sitting
Very nice
by
to meet
two
you.
geniuses that,
He's
I'm
the
not
genius.
worthy. I'm not worthy.
There he is. He just went that way.
So, thank you guys for amazing demos, amazing work, and you
Thank
were
you.
amazing in the keynote yesterday.
Oh, thank you.
I will
Yeah.
never forget that. That was awesome.
Awesome.
And Kyle, your brushes are just phenomenal, as well
Thank
as
you.
your
Well,
drawing.
Kyle was in the keynote too. We had his elk on the poster and we had his brushes on the
Yes.
stage. So
I like making the elk. Elk were made in Sketch.
nice.
Yep.
All right,
Cool.
any last words for this drink?
Be good to each other. Be friendly. Be kind. Don't be a jerk. Be nice.
And if you need help learning it, buy Kyle's Manners book.
Yeah. Why not? It's called Please Say Please.
And I'm going to say stay tuned to the Creative Cloud YouTube channel all day for the rest of Max, AdobeLive.com, and you'll see cool people like the two people I have with me today doing amazing work, amazing things throughout the rest of the conference, and from now on. I mean,
Cool.
we'll be streaming Adobe Live from here on out. So, bye everybody.
See you guys.
Take care.